The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus said to his disciples, "Be watchful, be alert. You do not know when the time will come. It is like a man traveling abroad. He leaves home and places his servants in charge, each with his own work, and orders the gatekeeper to be on the watch. Watch, therefore, you do not know when the Lord of the house is coming, whether in the evening or at midnight, or at cockcrow or in the morning. May he not come suddenly and find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to all, watch." The Gospel of the Lord. Happy New Year. This is the first Sunday of Advent, which marks the beginning of a new liturgical year. So today we have a fresh start, a new beginning. 2020 has been a year unlike any other. If someone told us back in February that the coronavirus would still be wreaking havoc on our world, we would say they were crazy. But here we are. Think of how many Americans are shuffling into churches this morning, burdened in ways they never would have imagined. Many have lost loved ones to COVID. Tons of students are still learning online. Some of us haven't seen our loved ones since March, while others have lost their homes or jobs because of a wildfire or hurricane. 2020 has been rough, leaving many whose faith has been parched asking, "Where is God?" Considering the suffering that's taken place this year, that's a hard question to answer. Perhaps no answer will suffice. But all of our readings today wrestle with this question, where is God? In our first reading, the prophet Isaiah cries out, "Why do you let us wander, O Lord, from your ways? Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down." Isaiah feels the absence of God, who seems hidden somewhere in the heavens. The psalmist adds, "Rouse your power, Lord, come to save us. Look from heaven and see. Give us new life, and we will call upon your name." The prophets of the Old Testament cried out to God. They felt his absence, like so many of us have this year. Although they didn't doubt God's power to save, they struggled to see the Lord present in their darkest days. This is what Advent is all about. Recognizing our need for God, our need for him to be present in our lives, to stay, to protect us, to deliver us from evil. At Christmas, we celebrate the truth that the Lord has come to save us, and he will come again at the end of time as both our judge and Savior. But for now, we wait. We're stuck in the in-between. Waiting is perhaps the most difficult part of the spiritual journey. It's the story of ancient Israel. It's the story of believers throughout the centuries. It's been the story of our world in 2020. We wait for God. We wait for a vaccine to be administered. We wait for a return to normal. We wait. But if we look with eyes of faith, then we can see that the Lord is acting in our lives. For example, God is present in the scientists who've been rushing to find a vaccine. He's in the medical workers who've spent months fighting tirelessly on the front lines. He's in the teachers and parents who've had to dig deep these last 9 months, finding reserves of patience and creativity they never knew they had. God's in the voice of a friend who calls just to say hello. God's in the neighbor who drops off a home-cooked meal to find a friend in quarantine. So where is God? God is in us. We are his hands and feet in the world until he returns. Think of how often the Lord places desires in our heart to be bold, to be honest, to be generous, kind, creative. God gives us these desires, but then we must act on them. This is Jesus' point in today's gospel. A master goes on a journey and leaves his servants in charge of his household. Each servant is assigned to a particular task. When the master returns, he judges them based upon their performance. Meaning, the Lord gives us tasks to do in this world. In my case, he's appointed me shepherd of this flock. And when he returns, Jesus will judge me based upon how attentive I have been to my responsibilities. But what about you? What do you believe God has asked you to do in life? Often the answer changes over time. Perhaps the Lord's invited you to live as a faithful spouse, a loving parent, a servant in the world. Maybe he's invited you to volunteer, to offer your time, treasure, and talent to others in this parish. Whatever God has given us to do, may we do it all. Good news is this: 2020 is coming to an end. But people will still be asking, where is God in 2021? Together, we can show them His face.